Sen.Hezena, the Maletian.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I rise to contribute to this culture bill, something that I'm very passionate and proud of, because I have served as a Commonwealth ambassador when I was reigning as Miss Commonwealth Kenya, and I served as a culture ambassador for the Commonwealth at large. And that continues to make me very proud to always speak and represent our beautiful culture within and without. Mr. Speaker, and sometimes I think I come from one of the most intricate cultures in Kenya, a culture that for a very long time has been held and applauded as the pride of Kenya, the Ma culture. And Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that the Ma in Kenya span over 10 counties. And yet, I agree with my brother, Senator Ledama, that we have been marginalized extremely for a very long time. It is very shameful, Mr. Speaker, that the culture that is upheld as the pride of Kenya globally in the face of Kenya still faces serious discrimination and marginalization within our borders. Mr. Speaker, sometimes I look at our history and the history of Kenya at large. There is a lot of misinformation that has reshaped our history, consequently affecting our culture. Mr. Speaker, what the history we depend on today and we pass down to our young generations in school is the history that was written by the white man, the British, the colonialist. And they took away the most prized possessions and parts of our culture, leaving a shell and a scale behind. That is why you see a lot of Kenyan communities with very diluted or almost extinct culture, because in the name of embracing modernity. Mr. Speaker, I remember one national leader, or whom I thought so, at one point alleging that we should not touch Mount Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, there is a need to know that Mount Kenya actually belongs to the Maasai, to the Ma. That is why the peaks of Mount Kenya are named after our kings, Olonana, Mbatian, and the rest. They are buried there. So this means Mount Kenya is our heritage. If anybody should say it should not be touched, it should be the Maasai, Mr. Speaker. And alongside with that, there is also another misrepresentation in our history about the Maasai collaborating with the colonizers. Mr. Speaker, from history passed down to me by my great-grandfathers who are leading the battlefront, in fact, they speak of being asked to pull huge trailers and trucks that belong to the colonialists using their pierced earlobes. How does that sound like a collaborator, Mr. Speaker? Again, there is a history of traces of the Maasai everywhere, and as a good student of history, I became very curious about history when I was in Form 2. And I was this very restless child in school, trying to dig more than what is being taught in school. And it is here that I discovered the Nilotes and Cushites arrived in Kenya way before. So if anybody, before the Bantus came from the Congo forest, if anybody should play a central role in determining our culture and rewriting the true and proper history of Kenya, it should be these two groups of people. Mr. Speaker, and I love our beautiful country because Kenya is a diverse country with over 70 different ethnic communities with very diverse and beautiful cultures. The Ma, for example, are recognized through our intricate beadwork. Mr. Speaker, I am a member of a group of the Ma that has tried to get a patented license for our beads, a copyright for us to own our beads and our shuka. Shockingly, Mr. Speaker, these beads and shukas are owned by the Chinese and patented by the Chinese. Mr. Speaker, the first trace of beads and beadwork globally is in Israel. And this was over 120,000 years, where the Israelite people, the Israelites, would make beads from clay, from shell, from seeds of trees and bones, Mr. Speaker. The second, and I believe Israel is in Africa, the second trace of beads is in Egypt, around 5,000 BCE. And here they would make beads using clay. Sen.Hezena, growing up and properly raised as a Samburu girl in the village. I remember when we were young, before it was easy to access the cities and buy the glass beads from China, we were taught as a young Samburu girl, you are raised to make your own individual beads. And we would melt plastic, and there's a way we make beads from plastic. There are special seeds from trees that we use to make beads. But at what point did these Chinese overtake us that they patent something that they also know belongs to Africa? We need to do something about this collectively, not just as a country, but as Africa at large. We need to take back our rights and our heritage. Mr. Speaker, the Maasai have named almost every town in Kenya. Nairobi, for example, Nairobi and Kare, the cold waters. KICC, for instance, used to be the watering ground for the Maasai livestock. State House, where our president stays, used to be the manyatta, or what we call the boma. That is the shelter for our cows. Mr. Speaker, misinformation has continually dented the rights of the Maa community across Kenya. And there is need to include this community, especially the elders, the bestorers of our national heritage, when national conversations about our heritage and culture are being held. The Njuri Njeke need to be part of this. The Maasai Council of Elders, which is a very organized body, needs to be included to ensure that there is no more continuous exploitation of our people while the world prides with our culture. There is need to channel resources for these purposes. Mr. Speaker, we must give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. When it comes to corporates, we have seen a lot of our photos of our women being exploited, even by our national carrier, the Kenya Airways. The lady I see there has existed in the poster for years. I am very sure if she's a Maasai, she has not been paid her dues. Yet as a former model, Mr. Speaker, I know there is a budget for somebody to use your face for commercial purposes. Mr. Speaker, when it also comes to government institutions, we have the Bomas of Kenya, which we have all agreed should be the melting point for all our Kenyan cultures. I am so embarrassed, Mr. Speaker, that the Bomas of Kenya has women from other Bantu communities dancing as Maasai women, when these women could actually represent their culture and get the Maasai women to represent their culture. What did this lead to? At one time, there was a Dubai Expo where Bomas of Kenya sent representatives together with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. And to my shock, I saw women jumping in Dubai, dressed in a Maasai woman's regalia. My culture, Mr. Speaker, does not allow me as a Maa woman to jump. And that is misinformation and misrepresentation and also cultural appropriation, Mr. Speaker. There was a time the Vogue, one of the largest fashion firm, used women from Achas Samburu as models, these tall, exotic, naturally beautiful, exotic women. They used them on the cover. I am sure if it was a model who's well informed about the use of her image for commercial purposes, they would have paid a lot. But what did they do? They flew their first-class flight down to Africa to exploit our women, taking their photos because they could not pay anything. And they knew they did not have this information to be able to be paid as a model to appear in Vogue. And Mr. Speaker, just for you to know, to appear in Vogue, you have to be paid millions of money as a model. So they couldn't go for Kendall Jenner. They chose our local women so that they can exploit them for free. This needs to be addressed. Mr. Speaker, there is also bits of our culture that are being misrepresented locally and globally. And there are very beautiful parts of our culture that I would love to applaud. When it comes to polygamy, for example, people just talk about, oh, you Samburus, Maasais are marrying too many wives, but they have no clue that everything in our community is structured from marriage to polygamy to death to divorce, everything. They are very intricate parts of our culture that I would just wish to tell my fellow Kenyans. If they watch us doing it, they should just applaud it from a distance and say, that is fine. For example, a poor man cannot be polygamous in our community. You have to have the proper resources, the right resources, to be able to satisfy both 1 or 20 women. And each must be economically strengthened, just as the other. So it's no cause to say that our people are poor because they are marrying too much. You will never find a poor man who is taking another wife. We have a beautiful parts of our culture, especially when it comes to the circumcision of boys, Mr. Speaker. It is very hard to get a Maasai man who has gone through the proper rites of passage, behaving in a certain way. Why? It's a whole process for men to go through circumcision. They go, first of all, to fetch water. It's a special event. They go collect gum, Arabica from trees. It's a special event. This whole time, they are taken to the forest and taught about how to behave like men and graduate from boyhood to manhood. And that is why you can find a very young Maasai man who is behaving more manly than a whole man from another community, Mr. Speaker. And when it comes also to the beadwork, we have heard about something called beading for girls. But let me just take this opportunity today to explain what that means. While there are instances of early child marriages, it is a very streamlined process in the sense that it's been a battle between the authorities and our cultural custodians to ensure that child marriage is eradicated in Samburu. But, Mr. Speaker, there is a need to make sure that the two collaborate, the elders and the law makers collaborate to make sure that they have a law that is favorable for both parties, in the sense that there are so many communities globally that engage girls at a young age, but this engagement is very streamlined in the sense that you might not have intimate relations between the girl who is engaged and the man who is engaged. Because in our culture, during the engagement process, there should not be any intimacy between the two partners. In fact, if a girl is too young, the mother-in-law has to take care of that child or that girl until she comes of age. Sometimes when she's past the age of 18 and she's old enough to carry a baby. Mr. Speaker, there is also the beautiful part where women are the custodians of praying for the community in the Samburu culture. The work of praying for a community is for a Samburu woman. It is very hard to get a Samburu woman who is heartless, in the sense that they believe that God listens to the prayers of a woman. Probably that is why Jesus Christ had to come to earth through a woman. Mr. Speaker, we have Samburu women who go to the mountains to pray for the rain. And miraculously, every time they do this, we always have rain. Mr. Speaker, there are also instances of abuse of our culture, misrepresentation and disrespect to our culture. We have many communities in Kenya have lost touch with their culture. There are many communities we know. We might say we have cultures, but some of them we are just seeing a resuscitation of dead cultures, of which we greatly applaud. Some vices like LGBTQ, Mr. Speaker, things like GBV. If you go back to history, most African cultures are completely against these things. Men today have diverted from their sole role of protection and providing. What are we finding today? People who have no shame that they can actually beat and kill their wives just because they are a weaker gender. A lot of times when you do a proper investigation, and these people come to social media to hang out their dirty linen, a lot of times when you do a proper background check, Mr. Speaker, there is always a problem with the history and origin of that person, especially how they were raised. There are always some loopholes as far as how this person was brought up. Either they were brought up without any culture or social norms that they were told this is a red line, you must not go beyond this, or sometimes you might find that none of the parents even bothered to teach these people that this is how you do. And this is why I greatly appreciate my late party leader, Baba Raila Odinga, because I remember one time some people were trying to malign my name for some useless things, you know, Mr. Speaker, and disrespecting the fact that I had utmost honor for the elders of my community. And I have no apologies for listening to their advice, by the way. And when I went to see my party leader, all he told me is that, my daughter, don't worry, because I know the Maasai culture. I know a Maa girl would never do that. And that really encouraged me. And I believe this is why he was able to interact with everybody, both in opposition and in government. Because first of all, he knew a person's identity, character, and personality are greatly shaped by their culture and how they were brought up. Many people today live with boundaries as in respect of how they were brought up. Mr. Speaker, we have issues to do with another social vice is extravagance. We have seen cultures here that are prioritizing too much money during marriages. You are telling somebody's son to bring 4 million, 5 million to marry your daughter. What for? Are you purchasing this girl, or are you supposed to give your girl to somebody who will honor and respect them? It looks like a trade. But in some cultures, like my culture, the Ma culture, dowry has never changed. Whether you are rich or poor, it is strictly 8 cows in the Samburu, and it depends. There are some things that might be topped up depending on the kind of family the girl comes from. Like in my instance, I come from a royal lineage. So in the event that somebody must marry me, then there is need for a thorough background check. For so many things, Mr. Speaker. If that family has a social vice or a debt that they have not taken care of, my family will not accept it. If they have killed somebody, my family will not accept it. If they did not go through the proper rites of passage, my family will not accept it. And this is guided by the culture. And this is why I proudly wear my to ensure that when we come up with economic models, we take care of the needs of these pastoral communities. I have had many people telling us, why are you Ma people following cows? Why are the Samburu following cows? You should have alternative rites of passage. Mr. Speaker, Barek, I do not know any other life that is not directly putting me sentimentally attached to the cow. Mr. Speaker, we cannot talk about where I am today without speaking about how many bulls my father has had to sell for me to go to school. I cannot talk about me today without remembering the hides and skin that I used as my mattress growing up. We cannot talk about who I am today without thinking about the shoes we make from a goat skin or a cow skin directly. Our culture is so intricate in the sense that we and the cow are inseparable. And when the country is making decisions on economic models that we must use, these custodians
have successfully used your 20 minutes. Congratulations. Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to start by appreciating the majority leader for this particular bill, Mr. Speaker. Comes at a very critical time. It's timely, Mr. Speaker. A conversation that is ripe as far as both our culture, the African beautiful culture that we pride in as an African country, compared to the Western culture, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, I want to put on record that I come from the great culture of the Kamba community, and we pride in different cultural perspectives and policies that before I was born, Mr. Speaker, I found them in existence and have been nurtured and brought up under the same cultures, and hence the product of a Mutinda factor, Mr. Speaker. Culture, Mr. Speaker, is the foundation of a national identity. As a country, Mr. Speaker, we cut across different cultures, more than 42 cultures, Mr. Speaker, that bring together a national unity because we pride in sharing our different cultures, Mr. Speaker. I've just perused the bill, Mr. Speaker, and yes, and I want to agree we have different cultures. That is intangible and tangible cultures, Mr. Speaker. And looking at the tangible cultures, Mr. Speaker, the last time we were in the great county of Busia, I joined the Committee of Trade, and we were able to come across historical sites that apparently, Mr. Speaker, carried a lot of rich culture, but the county had not really put so much in terms of how to generate revenue from these tangible cultural and historical sites, Mr. Speaker. As a community, Mr. Speaker, as a Kamba community, we pride in our artificial artifacts, like, for example, the carvings that the Kamba community does do very well, among many other things, Mr. Speaker. And you know, as Kamba women, Mr. Speaker, as I continue and talk about the intangible cultural aspects, Mr. Speaker, apart from the arts and the music, as Kamba women, Mr. Speaker, naturally, and I say naturally, biologically, Mr. Speaker, we pride in our nature of womanhood, Mr. Speaker. The married men to the Kamba women can attest, Mr. Speaker, because it is out there, Mr. Speaker. And these are cultures, as Kamba women, we continue priding in and continue teaching our young girls on the same values and ensuring that they continue enhancing the same, Mr. Speaker. The bill has really focused on what the minister is going to do, Mr. Speaker. This House, Mr. Speaker, we support devolution. A lot of responsibility has been left to the minister, unlike being handled at a county level, Mr. Speaker. Section 15, Section 14, Mr. Speaker, has used an English word that talks about or, whereby, where the cabinet secretary or the county government refuses, where does this leave to these two bodies, Mr. Speaker? And I would want the secretariat to really put this and note this, that when a bill is much more of what the county can do or the minister can do, then both of them are at leeway to be able to bring out their own perspectives And so we will be having two bodies that will keep on bringing about their own different views instead of narrowing this particular mandate to the specific body. And that body should be none other than the county government,